These are the lessons that no one tells you when you start, from confused marketing to pointless perfectionism. Here are 25 brutally honest truths every mortgage broker needs to hear if you actually want to grow your business. So the first one we have is clarity beats creativity every time. If your clients don't understand what you do in seconds, your marketing is failing. This is a really common thing I see advisors do, is they want to be different. They think that by being different, they're going to help themselves stand out. And actually, it's the opposite. You don't want to be different. You want to be the most consistent and the most clear. If you are different, by default, it means that you are new. And by being new, it means the client has to figure out what you stand for. And if they are thinking about what you stand for, they're not thinking about mortgages. You want them to think about mortgages. If you confuse them, then remember that a confused mind never buys. So instead, be the most generic, boring mortgage advisor you can, but be the clearest and the most consistent. That's how you win. If you're off there trying to be very creative and arty and trying to be different, that is your ego stopping you from being successful. And do not complain then if you're not getting any leads. The next one we have is case studies convert. So highlight real life client stories instead of generic testimonials. Testimonials are great. We've all seen them, Google reviews. They're all fine and they're nice and they're lovely, but they suck for social media content. They're fine in stories. That's great. They're good on your website. They look awesome on your website. But if you're just posting a post and here's my testimonial, everybody goes to sleep because it's boring. Instead, use those testimonials and turn them into case studies. Use examples of what the client was feeling, how you helped them, what their situation was. You be the center of it and share their story through video content. People are going to relate to that so much more. If you want to see testimonial to case study examples, you can go onto my website. If you go to www.borland.com, if you scroll down on that main page, you're going to see lots of client testimonials, which are video testimonials with case studies attached to them. That's the type of thing you need to create. That is going to tell a much better story. It will convert more clients. The next one is your competition isn't other brokers, it's apathy. Most clients don't act because they're overwhelmed, so you need to simplify the process for them. First of all, your competitors, if you're trying to be better than your competitors, the best way to be better than them is actually do less. If you'll keep adding things in, I'm going to add this service, and now we're going to do wills, and now we're going to do this, you end up overcomplicating it. And it makes the client, again, confused minds don't buy. And that's exactly the same thing here. So you need to keep that in mind. Now, another thing to remember with this is also when you're in appointments with the client, don't try and think like you're teaching them the CMAP exam. That's what I've seen people do before. A client, you don't have to give them all your value. You don't have to share all your knowledge. Your job as an advisor is to have that knowledge, and then they come to you for you to deal with it all. And only if that knowledge is relevant, meaning 2-year, 5-year fixed deals, the difference between swap rates, any of that type of stuff is only relevant if the client asks. If they don't ask, you don't tell them, because you are taking the stress away. So please get your head around this idea that the best thing, a short 45 minute to 1 hour discovery call, that is what you need. Don't get stuck in this idea of thinking you need 2-hour appointments to explain everything to them. You think you're adding value, you're actually boring them to death. Next one is automation isn't optional anymore. If you're still tracking leads with a spreadsheet, you are wasting your time. I love a spreadsheet just like the rest of us love a spreadsheet. I'm all up for that. But the reality is the times have changed. And you need to adapt and adopt tech. Now, I'm not somebody, anyone who knows me, clients who'll be watching this or listen to this, because quite a lot of them do, they know me that I'm all for humans. I believe that the broker is at the center of everything they do, and you should be the main kind of thing. However, you should be adapting tech into your business. And if you're not, you are going to get swept away. It's not acceptable now to hide away from tech. Automations being one of the best ones. Most of you are employing administration staff to do things that you can do for literally less than £10 a month of a subscription fee to some software. Spend some time, learn how to make it work and do it. But one thing you will say with this is you need to take responsibility for it. If I had £1 for every time somebody messaged me telling me that they want me to do their automations and I want to give them a big fat F off because that's not my job and it's not anyone else's job. You need to know how to do it yourself. You set it up. You learn how to do it. It is your job. Your job, not someone else's. Remember that. It's really important you do that. If you outsource this stuff, you won't understand it, which means you're making yourself more and more exposed to when the inevitable change comes. The quote I love, which is an Eric Hoffer quote, which is, "In a world of change, the learners shall inherit the earth, whereas the learned will be perfectly equipped for a world that no longer exists." That is us right now. Be the people learning how to use the software now. Don't stick your head in the sand like an ostrich. Fun fact, ostriches don't actually stick their head in the sand. Don't know where that come from, but that is actually true. They don't. Next one we have is niche is power. Trying to appeal to everyone leaves you with no one. So pick a segment and own it. Niching gets people terrified. I don't know why. People run a mile in it. Whenever I bring it up in presentations or talks or with clients, they absolutely cack themselves. And so let me just explain niche to you for a second. First thing with niche is that niche marketing, not niche products. That's what we need to look at. Meaning that if you're a mortgage broker and you do mortgages for people, you can do mortgages for people whether you talk about first-time buyer mortgages on your Instagram or not. Spoiler alert with that. You can do that. You don't have to only do first-time buyers because you've said you only do first-time buyers. You are fine. That is a really important thing to point out. But by marketing to certain people, you're now calling out your ideal client. You will naturally start to get more and more people who fall into that ideal clientele if you market to them. But if you are just a generic advisor doing generic stuff, again, confused minds don't buy, you're going to make people feel unclear about what it is you actually do. And that is a big problem for everyone. So make sure you start to niche. Now, there are two types of niches that I say to my clients to look at. We have a national niche, which is a specific niche. So first-time buyer, self-employed, bad credit, they're the three main ones. And then you have what we call local niche. Local niche being the market that you actually work in. You do all mortgages within, for my example, for me, Cambridge. That is simple niche explained. Just need to start focusing on those two things. Next one is people don't trust businesses, they trust people. So show up authentically, flaws and all. This is a huge one that drives me mad so much, is that people will leave a large company like say Connells or Countrywide, obviously they're the same now, or L&C or any of those companies, and then they go and try and be them. They go and I want to have a team and an office and a this and a that. And the reality is you're trying to be Goliath when really you should be David, because they're a much bigger Goliath than you. You're never going to beat them at their game, but what you have, they don't have, which is you have authenticity, relatability, and individuality, something that these very large corporate blobs do not have. And you are absolutely kneecapping yourself when you don't use that to your advantage. So lean into the fact that you're a one-man band. Lean into the fact that people, you know people, that you can help people. Just lean into that. Lean into your personal brand. You're not going to sell your business, by the way, when you first start out. So when people go, I'm going to sell my business, I need to have a business brand. No, spoiler alert, very few mortgage businesses ever actually sell. And if you're setting up right now, if you are making less than multiple six figures, probably close to seven figures, you're not going to sell that business. So don't worry about it. And if your business is good enough, you can rebrand it later and sell it then. Don't get so caught up on this silly idea of I need to sell it, so I need to grow a brand. Grow your personal brand first. It's much easier. So video beats text. People want to see your face, hear your voice, and feel like they know you. This specific one is one that gets a few people's backs up, is that I hear people and they'll say, if you don't want to go on video, it's okay. Here are things you can do. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not okay. Don't do anything. Get on video. That is straight away my answer to you. And the reason being is because video clones you. It duplicates you as a person. That means that if they start to watch you, they will know, like, and trust you. When they get on a call with you, whether that's a Zoom call, on a Teams, on a Team or Zoom's call, same thing, on a face-to-face or on the telephone, but any of those, they already feel like they know you. No image or graphic or Canva post is ever going to do that. Ever. No blogs, nothing. It needs to be video. And anything outside of that doesn't work. And that's where when we go into things about reach and stuff like that, no, it's not about reach. It's about cloning you. It's about people seeing your face, hearing your voice, and feeling like they know you, and creating what is known as a parasocial relationship, meaning that you have a relationship, that they have a relationship with you, before you actually have a relationship with them. It's a one-sided. Many of you watching this or listening to this show have a para relationship with me. I don't know who you are, probably never heard of you, but you know me, you follow my content, you know that my kids' names or whatever. That is all part of the same thing. It's exactly the same thing that I'm doing to you, you need to do to your clients too. Next one we have is social media is your shop window. If your last post is from 6 months ago, you are signaling that you're not open for business anymore. Interesting point on this one. I think it's Adam Mazuri, who is I think that's how he says his name. He is the CEO of Instagram, and he was actually saying that after 4 weeks, so 1 month, the data on Instagram removes that, and so now they don't actually know who you are. And so as time goes on, if you don't post, you actually aren't getting out to the right type of audience. And he said, and you have to warm it back up again when you start. So if you're doing content a little bit here and a little bit there, and you're going away for a bit, then you're actually losing out. You need to be consistent on your social media. It is your shop window. It is where people go to. It is effectively a website. It's a business. I see Instagram as the modern day business card. It's where people go and see, are you worth working with? It's exactly the same thing. So you make sure you're on it. You must not see it as just an outsourced social. If you outsource your socials, you are outsourcing your business, not your brand, not your thing. You're outsourcing your actual business. And this was a reality we saw during COVID. Once all of the face-to-face and all of the meetings are gone, the only thing that was left was these actual online platforms. And my business rocketed because of it, because people realized very quickly it was the only brand they had. It was the only brand identity they had. You don't want to be in that same situation. So don't be. Start taking your social media seriously. Next one is rejection isn't personal. It's about the client, not you. Don't fear rejection. Rejection is just part of any job. It's part of any sales job. It's part of life. If you're worried about being rejected, you are actually probably kneecapping yourself when it comes to your income potential and your personal growth in general. You see this happen a lot. If you're worried about being rejected, you won't charge fees. If you don't charge fees, you won't make enough money. And also it's a perpetual cycle. People who are worried about rejection give off a vibe that makes other people wary of kind of working with them. Attitude and perception in your head is all about how you come across, and if people are scared, it puts other people off. It just really does. Get over the fear of rejection. I say this as somebody who comes from a performing arts background originally. You know, rejection is just part of what we do. I'm not bothered about rejection anymore. You can reject me as much as you like. It doesn't matter. And that's exactly where you need to get. But you only get there by doing it over and over again. You have to throw yourself into the fire, and then eventually it does get better over time. Next one is your CRM is your second brain. Invest in one that works for you and your clients. CRMs are so useful and so important, and we don't really use them to the maximum effect. There's lots of software out there, multiple different CRMs that have like hotbox structures in them or reminding systems. You have CRMs like Go High Level. You have all these different things that you can use, but you need to have, in my opinion, a CRM system where you're actually tracking it and you're putting the notes on. You're actually making the client, keeping the client up to date. You can use lots of different ones. You can have a range of things. Microsoft To Do. You can use Microsoft OneNote. You can use, like I said, Go High Level. You can also use your mortgage one that you have. But all having some form of CRM customer management system and using it is important. If you are keeping it all in your head and just putting on the basics to get you through compliance, honestly, you're never going to grow because you're never going to get you'll be able to kind of have the information at hand when you need it. It's just crazy. The stuff that we use in the Mortgage Business Mastery system, which is what I do with my clients, that specific system, we have reminder follow-ups every 2 weeks with our clients and then every year for annual reviews. That's all part of a system. You'll never remember that. But the clients who've been doing it for a number of years now, they're speaking to their clients every single year, year after year, keeping those relationships going and earning that business, all down to good CRM, so customer relationship management. Perfection is a procrastinator's excuse. Launch now and improve later. I love the term when people say I'm a perfectionist. No, it doesn't. It means you are a procrastinator. You are somebody, you don't get anything done. Because by your very nature, we call it, I'm a perfectionist. What it actually means is I'm scared of getting things wrong. So I don't do anything. But it sounds nicer if I say I just like things perfect. You're not a perfectionist. You're just a dreamer. You're just somebody who says stuff. You're all talk and no walk. That's what that is. People don't like that, but it's true. So you remove that word of I'm a perfectionist. I am not a perfectionist by any means at all. I'm an action taker. I do things and then I figure out later. That's what I do. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to be stuck in this term of perfectionism. It's an absolute load of crap. And it is the worst thing I hear people say all the time. And I think, oh, what it actually just means is you're so scared of doing anything that you'd rather label it as a quality than a negative thing, which it absolutely is a negative thing. You're scared of doing it. Same thing with people, by the way. Another one with this is ethics. I just think it's ethically not right to charge a fee. No, you're just scared of charging a fee. Let's just call stuff what it is. It's exactly the same thing here. So stop being a perfectionist and actually take some bloody action. Told you these were going to be harsh truths. Next one is clients buy when they're ready, not when you are. So staying top of mind with content and follow-ups is crucial. You can't force someone into taking a mortgage. It does not happen. And so any way you are trying to find, I want quick leads. How do I make clients take action? You can't. If they're locked into a 5-year or 2-year fixed deal, they're not breaking their ERC. They're not breaking their term and paying an ERC to work with you. They're just not. So don't think that's at all possible. Instead, start just trying to be there when they need you. Start marketing to the passive market. Start making sure that you see your marketing and your video marketing as throwing in, you're throwing in some seeds into the ground and then you're watering them. Your job is to be there and just remind them, hey, I'm here, which goes back to what we said earlier. That's why you need to be clear and why you need to be consistent and why actually you also need to be showing up on social media and not just leaving it blank. People will come to you when they're ready, not when you want them to come to you. So make sure you're there when they're ready. Which leads very nicely on to the next one, which is consistency builds trust. So whether it's a social post, emails, or calls, showing up regularly makes you the go-to person when clients are actually ready. This is something that we need to do more of, which is keeping in touch with people and kind of being visible. Now, when it comes to the consistency, I say to people all the time, let's say I've got my phone in front of me now. Your job with your content should be that people are looking at you and going, oh, there's Ash mortgage, no. Ash mortgage, no. Ash mortgage, no. And they're swiping away. And then one day they're going to go, Ash mortgage, actually, I need a mortgage. Or someone's going to go, do you know a mortgage broker? And they're going to go, yeah, actually, there's a guy. I see him all the time. We are programming their brains to say, when you have a mortgage, it is me. And that's what you need them to be. You're not trying to look at views. You're not looking at likes, shares, or anything else. It's all about just consistently showing up, which is why it doesn't matter if you email somebody every single day. It doesn't matter if you upload 5 times a day. It doesn't matter. You need to do as much as you possibly can. You can't, people will just unsubscribe if they don't want to see it, which again is fine. Stop worrying about rejection. Everything's okay. So it's all good. In this idea of building up consistency, you have to do more so that people recognize you and remember you. Next one is that price isn't the problem, value is. If a client doesn't see the value in your offer, no discount is going to convince them. Big one. Price, when you see people knock prices off their fee and stuff like that, it's really not a good thing to do that. You need to make sure all the way through your entire client meetings, you are showing your clients why they should be working with you and demonstrating value. Now, how you do this is you actually do it by being openly transparent and just being honest, helping them. It genuinely is that simple. It's so simple we forget how to do it. We're always trying to look for a little hack and trick. Guess what? Treat somebody honest and transparent. If you were going in for a mortgage appointment, would you like someone to hide the lenders to you? No, you wouldn't. So don't do it to them. You worry that people are going to steal your client or go direct. Well, they would have anyway. So let them. At least you facilitated that and let them do it and be happy that they did. It's okay. Again, it's okay to lose clients. It's okay to reject them. It's fine. This is the thing you have to look at. You want to make sure that you show them in that initial discovery call how much value you actually are. And the value doesn't come from a rate or saving money. That's not value. Value is how they actually feel about you. Then at that point, they will pay anything to work with you. Next one we have is mindset is 80% of your success. Skills can be learned, but persistence and belief are non-negotiable. Mindset is the number one. Like I've said many times, I think throughout this already, but if you don't believe in it, it won't work. But it's that whole, if you believe, you will achieve, which is both cliche, but also very true. And it is true in this scenario. You need to change your mindset and change your behavioral bias around what you do. This is really obvious, by the way, when it comes to insurance. I see this with clients where they believe that they have a set premium kind of cap of, say, £50 or £60 or £75, and they're like, that's a lot of money. And I have clients who are doing 250, 300. Someone did 700. Another guy recently did 879. It's crazy high you can get. And the reason is because once they realized that people started saying no, so they started saying yes, to these higher premiums, they started realizing actually people will say yes to it. And their mindset shifted. So that's what we say about skills. You can learn how to sell insurance. You can learn how to do marketing. You can learn how to do a mortgage appointment. But if you don't believe it, you don't change how you think, it is never going to work. You have to change the programming in your brain before you try and do anything else, because it will just fall flat. And then you will tell everybody it doesn't work. Ash, or whoever my competitor may be, whoever you work with, there's a load of rubbish, doesn't work. No, maybe it's you. Maybe you didn't work because you didn't actually change the way you thought. Oh, this one's a juicy one, which is people don't care about you. They care about what you can do for them or solve for them. And this is positioning your marketing and advice around client needs, not around your accolades. This is the whole thing that people don't care about how many years you've been in the industry. They don't care about anything. They don't care about any of your awards. They don't care about how long you've done it. They don't care if you're the first person in the world to done it. They do not care. They care about, can you fix their problem? And if you do that in your marketing, you'll win. You'll do very, very well. And the reason you'll do well is because everybody else wants to bang their chest and beat their ego drum to go, look how great we are. And then they look at everybody else in the industry. They'll look at people who are doing well, and they'll go to me. They'll bitch and moan to me and go, oh, why is it that that person's doing so much better and I'm better than them? Well, maybe you're not. Maybe if you spent less time showing us your office dog and less time showing us, what you all had for breakfast in your team meeting around the room and introducing us to the latest member of the team, which, spoiler alert, nobody cares about, and instead started making content that was valuable to your audience and actually shared updates for them and made them the center of everything, then you would win. Again, it's creativity. Creativity is ego-driven. Clarity is client-driven. Focus on the client, you will win the business. It's really not that hard. Coming up next, we have every no gets you closer to a yes. Sales is a numbers game, but it's also a resilience game. So every no is a good thing. You want to collect no's, because the more times you say no to people, one, you learn, or that you get no to you learn that you will survive, and two, it's closer to a yes. And once you have a no to yes ratio, you're aware that, okay, maybe I get 8 to 9 no's to every one yes. And once you know that, then it's not unreasonable for you to speak to 10 people in order to get a yes. That's kind of how it works. And so this is a big thing, that if you think so it's knowing conversion rates and stuff like that, you need to know what you're roughly doing so you can then go, that's actually realistic, because our emotions are going to tell us everybody's saying no to us. When actually it's like, well, it's no different than what it always was. And as you scale that up, your conversion rate may be still the same, but obviously more people saying no. If you're going to scale it up, you're going to do, it's, for every 1 no, for every 9 no's, it's 1 yes. Then if you start speaking to, that means you'll speak to 30 people to get 3 leads. It's not going to be that way, by the way, for mortgages, unless you're in a estate agency. But you need to get to know these type of things and be okay with the no's. It's not a slight on you. They've just moved on, they're moving to someone else. It's okay, but this is a good thing because it means you can start to collect data. So now we're going to flip it on its head the other way, which is that they might be saying no to you, but this time not all leads are good leads, and it's okay for you to say no to clients who you don't think are a good fit. Every client should not be working with you, and it's okay if you meet somebody that, one, triggers off your spidey senses and you think this guy's an absolute prat, or that you actually can't help them, or you don't want to help them because maybe it's going to be a lot of work. It's a complex, bad credit case that you're thinking, I don't really want to do that. I don't have the time to do that. It's not for me. Be honest and upfront and tell them. Just say no. It's okay. Also, if a client is rude to you, show them the door. Say no to them too. These are things that you need to do. It's self-confidence. It's also self-worth. Knowing what your worth is for yourself, it means that you will start to be stronger in how you hold yourself with client appointments, which is what I've said earlier, which is this idea that the more the way that you think about it is how you'll show up. And if you're worried about things, they'll smell it and they won't work with you. If you're somebody that's willing to say no to people and lose clients, that's a massive win for you. Which brings me into insurance isn't a hard sell, it's a mindset shift. Position it as essential, not optional from the first meeting. A couple of things to unpack with that. First of all, insurance, like I said, is not an optional thing. So do not have it as a bolt-on. Do not have it as maybe I'll sell it later. You want to have it. It's a non-negotiable. Also, you see what I've said there is you introduce it right at the beginning. Introducing insurance right at the beginning is going to mean that the client is not kind of strong-armed into it later, or side kind of barrel to the side and kind of just go, where's that come from? Surprised in the end of once they've had their mortgage offer and you go, now let's talk about insurance. They're going to say no. But if you talk about it right from the beginning, open and transparent, they will say yes, and they'll say yes to higher premiums. That's where you have to look at it. You can't see it as a bolt-on. Secondly, with this one, people will not do the mortgage with you because you brought up insurance. I hear this a lot where brokers will say, I don't want to bring it up because I'm worried that they might not do the mortgage with me because they feel I'm pushing the insurance. They won't do that. They'll just say no. If they don't want to do it, if they absolutely adamantly don't want to do it, they'll say no and they'll still do the mortgage with you anyway. And even if you get to the point at the end, if you're at the point where you're about to submit the mortgage for them and you're doing insurance and they say no, they're not going to say, oh my gosh, blow up, leave me alone, unless you're being really rude. Well, in that case, if you're being rude, then you don't deserve the business. But most of you are not being rude to their clients about insurance. They're not. You maybe just said it a little bit wrong, but you're not being rude. You just point out the obvious. You need to be protected because you're at risk. So it's fine. So do not get fearful of pitching it. Next one, which is what my wife calls paper shufflers, which is being busy doesn't equal being effective. Now, focusing on activities that actually move the needle, so networking, follow-ups, and consistent outreach, they're the things that matter. People will often be busy. They'll be busy for no reason. I see this a lot. In fact, it's one of the number one things people discuss with me on discovery calls is that they're very busy. They don't have a lot of time. They don't know what to do. And the truth is, most of the time we get under the hood of it, they're being busy fools. They're not that busy. They're just using their time ineffectively. They're not overworked. They've got a bad time management problem. They're not prioritizing time correctly. And they think they're busier than they are. And they're not that busy. So look at your business and say, how am I actually effectively using my time? If you're sitting around scrolling through your phone or being, like unproductive, then maybe that's probably the problem. It's not that you're overworked by the clients and by the estate agents sending you leads, or, it's not that. It's probably just the fact that you are poorly optimizing your time, which can be fixed. So be a bit nicer on that one. So this one is your first 100 deals will shape your reputation, good or bad. So you want to nail the basics and build the systems early. The last 100 deals you did as a broker is your reputation, realistically. They are a representation of what your next load of clients will be. And the reason why it's the case is because they're going to be your active referrers. They're going to be the people that you're specializing in, the stuff you know about, probably stuff you've spoken about, the case studies you've spoken about. And so making sure you nail your systems and processes and get them right, so those 100 clients are getting the best possible representation of your business, the follow-ups, the service, everything. That's going to increase the chance of people referring you, recommending you, and you having the clients you want, and not having them to turn away people who you think are a pain in the ass. That's very important. Getting your clients nailed in, and that will be your niche. Your niche will be the average of the top 100 clients you actually are currently working with, have previously worked with. Oh, we couldn't get throughout a whole episode of this without bringing this one in, which is your network is your net worth. Attend events, join online communities, and nurture those relationships. Interestingly, of course, that's the truth. We all know that you are you're a value of the collection of the people you hang around with. I think that's what they say. You're a representation of the people you hang around with, and that is very true here. As a broker, you need to network. You need to network within your local area, to be seen as a pillar of the community, not just buy my stuff, but like actually helping and being in there. You need to network with people within the industry. You need to network with people like myself and people like my peers. Get to know other people who can help you. The more you network and the more you're connected, both in the industry and out of the industry, the better your job is going to be. You'll get more leads, but you'll also start to get more things, more notoriety, more awards, more chances of recruitment if you're networking too. So if your goal is to scale, you have to be able to get good people. And so interestingly, what I see a lot of advisors do is they maybe network in their local market, they don't network in their industry. Well, then the issue with that is that when they go to recruit, they're getting poor talent because the reality is no one really knows them. So you can use platforms like LinkedIn to share about what you do in the industry, try to network with industry people, and then you can use your other social medias to network to the public. So it's B2B and B2C. Really good strategy to do this, because over time, you might decide that you do want to become someone of more authority in the industry. You've already built that nice little foundation out while you're doing it. Next one we've got here is every piece of content builds your brand. So whether it's good or bad, it adds or detracts from your reputation. Your content is very similar to the thing about clients. What you put out there with your content reflects the same as what you do with the type of clients you work with, is that they are building who you are. So if you're putting out stuff about your favorite football team or all of these type of things, if they're not relevant to what you do, if they're relevant, great. But if they're not relevant, could be giving off a bad vibe. Be careful what you put out there if you're not wanting people to know about it. That's a big one. And also make sure see how it's perceived. Interesting fact with mine is that many of you know a bit about me, but you don't know a lot about me. You know what you see about me. But I'm quite a private guy. I don't show my personal life that much. I show what I want you to show, because I'm trying to craft my reputation to be what I want it to be, which is professional, but also relatable and somebody that gets you. But you don't see me sharing all of my own political views, which is really non-existent because I'm not that political. But anything like that, you don't see me sharing this stuff. So be careful what you share, because it can come and bite you in the arse. Coming up to the second to last one now, we have long-term versus short-term wins. So you don't want to chase every trend. You want to build a system that actually sustains your growth. This is a thing we see a lot with any of this stuff, is if you are jumping from trend to trend to trend in your marketing, you are going to not build anything that's sustainable, because you're not actually building an audience, you're just riding trends. Same thing with if you're jumping from trend to trend to trend on type of products that come out. So if Barclays release a new first-time buyer thing and you're just all over that, and then the next person reads a new thing. And we see this a lot where people are just riding whatever wave of new product or news that is out there. Oh, remortgage need to be done. Martin Lewis said this, blah, blah, blah. You don't want that. Instead, you want to start building sustainable, systemized growth, building authority as a broker doing a specific type of thing, and create stuff, like I said, talking head videos, 5 a week, and every single week without fail. That's where you're going to see the best results. Don't get stuck in these short-term wins. Look at the long-term play, and you're trying to be seen as a trusted player in the space. And the last one we have is the market rewards patience. So success in sales is about consistent effort over years, not over months. I actually, before filming this, I just did a 10K run and I was listening to a podcast. And one of the things they said, which I loved this quote, was they said, the fastest way to get where you want is to go slow. And that just stuck with me very, very strong, which is exactly what I'm going to say to you here. It's exactly that. If you want to do it and you want to get there the fastest way, you need to be slow. Because all of the quick wins and the quick things, they're actually going to slow you down significantly in the long run. And it's the tortoise and the hare approach. If you're serious about building a mortgage business and staying here and doing it for the long haul, you need to take it slow and understand that it is a slow, progressive overload system that over time eventually gets bigger and bigger. It's compounded interest, which is what we work in. We work in financial services. We should understand compounding interest better than anybody else. We've all seen the numbers at the end of the 40-year mortgages and go, wow, that's what this is. We can do it for ourselves if we take the advantage of it. If those lessons hit home, wait till you see this next, which is the 3 steps to closing more mortgage leads. It's a game changer that you've been waiting for. Go on, give it a click.